land blockade was imposed on my country by our neighboring countries. On that day, my home became subject to a ruthless campaign of isolation coordinated by some of our neighbors and longtime partners. Allow me to provide you with an overview of airspace restrictions imposed on my beloved country and, of course, Qatar Airways. In the early hours of June 5th, 2017, when I was attending the IATA AGM in Cancun, various directives were issued by the blockade countries through notices to airmen, as you all know, NOTAMs. First, the 4 blockade states declared the state-registered aircraft would no longer be permitted to overfly the airspace or to operate from or to any of their airports. Second, additional approval processes were imposed by the blockade states on other international airlines flying to or from the territory of the state of Qatar, a serious violation of international law. Third, and most importantly, Qatar-registered aircraft were denied access to international airspace over high seas. These directives, issued by the blockade states, was highly disruptive to Qatar Airways operations on the ground and in the air. For example, prior to the blockade, Qatar Airways had access to 18 entry and exit points on air corridors, which allow us to fly close to 600 flights per day then. In the morning of June 5th, 2017, the number of air corridors was reduced from 18 to 2, and consequently the number of flights went down to 444. With only 2 air corridors available to Qatar-registered aircraft, elaborate measures were necessary to assure safe operations. If you were following the route map of your flight here, you may have noticed the diversions our aircraft are forced to take as we approach Doha due to these illegal actions. Despite the challenging navigational conditions, I can say with total confidence that we have at all times preserved the highest levels of safety and security for our passengers and crew. The state of Qatar chose to respond to these actions by appealing to ICAO, the UN body responsible for protecting the safety, security, and efficiency of international civil aviation. Unfortunately, to this day, ICAO response has been rather timid and disappointing. It is with great shame that ICAO has taken a back seat, politicized the council. Instead of having an independent arbitrary body, the council has decided to deal with this matter on mere political level, which is not why ICAO was formed. Today, instead of applying all efforts to reverse the illegal actions of the blockade states and restore normalcy to civil aviation in the Gulf region, ICAO continues to focus on technical measures and contingency routes, another way of delaying free passage to our aircraft from and to Qatar. As an industry, we should continue to condemn these kinds of reckless political schemes that violate the fundamental norms of international aviation. The last 18 months have been extremely challenging for Qatar Airways as we continue to deal with the negative financial and operational consequences of the ongoing airspace blockade. To lose so many mature destinations from a network overnight could have been devastating. Any airline would have collapsed, folded, laid off thousands of young men and women that rely on their livelihood on Qatar Airways. We persevered. Thanks to our robust business planning, decisive actions in the face of the crisis, our passengers-focused solutions, and dedicated employees, the impact of the blockade has been minimized, if not already defeated. Unlike our Gulf Air competitors, who operate only wide-body aircraft, our mix of wide and narrow-body aircraft enable us to launch new destinations and increase frequencies based on actual market demand, not on dumping capacity like a lot of people accuse us of. This flexibility to quickly and effectively reposition our network has enabled us to continue growing while our competitors are unable to adjust to the changing markets and are shrinking. I don't need to give you the details. You industry peers already know what I'm talking about. Despite having access to very restricted airspace, Qatar Airways continues to innovate and look outwards to underserved markets around the world. Within the first year of the blockade alone, we managed to launch 17 new destinations while also increasing frequencies to some of our existing destinations. Not one employee was laid off, not a single aircraft was parked, unlike our competitors and our adversaries that have laid off thousands of young men and women and have parked, needless to say, many aeroplanes. I am pleased to announce that since the first day of the blockade, we have launched 24 new destinations. We are very proud of that. We have always kept our heads high in this country. For many of these new destinations, Qatar Airways is the first major global carrier to operate to that city. We are proud to lead the way in bringing the benefits of international aviation to emerging markets, and we believe we will see long-term benefits from entering these markets ahead of our competition.